How much shame can you sustain before you finally accept that your team isn't good? Sonny Hayes versus Lance Stroll. Who causes more damage? Welcome back to Tinfoil Helmets, your occasional spicy hot take roundup with the latest F1 rumors, with the almost believable conspiracy theories, and I actually have a conspiracy theory this week to back them up. Everything here has been carefully researched for hours to make sure it's totally founded in logic, reason, and truth. Or not. Who knows? We're back from the summer break. We've had a backdoor pilot for our fledgling movie review podcast. Did we get anything right in our predictions for over the summer break? Granted, you had a lot more predictions than I did.
I did kind of go over the top with the predictions, so let's bang through these as quick as possible.
The reality is, if you narrowed it down to like 2, you could, if you picked the right 2, you could have done well.
If I made the right life choices, I'd be a trillionaire. My first one was Lewis retires, saying that he will be in it till the end of 2026. He did not. Franco gets fired. No. Yuki gets fired. No. Cadillac announced Bottas and Perez. Yes, we'll come to that later.
Did you see Did you watch the meme I sent you of that? It was like a clip from Friends.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was.
Yes. Excellent.
This is brand new information. You guys know? A little bit.
Fernando retires. No. George gets a contract-ish. There was a hint, and that there would be no news for Kimi. And there was no news for Kimi. That was my summer break suggestions, hopes, dreams. Then I thought for Zandvoort, I said Lewis was going to be out in Q1. No, he made it all the way to Q3. It was great. Oh, no, wait, he got out in Q2. Sorry, I got that wrong.
He started in Q3? Because he started like...
He did get
he and Charles were right next to each other.
Yes. He just beat Charles in Q1 and Q2. I said Charles was going to be out in Q2, and he kind of nearly was, but he pulled it together. I said Max was going to be out of the points. No, he was on the podium. I said Isaac was going to be in the top 6. And he qualified P4, and then, not to hint at any spoilers, he got a podium. And then I said that Oscar was...
Not to hint at any spoilers, says the spoiler.
But the podium's not the spoiler. The spoiler is how he got there.
Fair enough.
I said that Piastri was going to win by 10 seconds. I feel I am justified in giving myself mostly a point for this one. Because he would have won by 10 seconds if it hadn't been for those pesky safety cars, because twice he had 10-second leads, at least over Max.
Yeah, and but then if the safety cars don't happen, does Lando's car actually make it to the finish and all that? Yeah, we can what if. In the second half of the race, the McLarens did not seem as dominant as they were in the front half of the race. I don't think they like those hard tires as much. My summer break prediction was George shirtless beach pictures. I had so much fun scrolling through George's Instagram and sending you all of the ones that I found.
So I just have visions of you having made a conscious choice that, like, one Saturday afternoon in a break between all of the hectic things, you're like, okay, I've got my little to-do list, go to George's Instagram account and scroll through them, and then you open up each of his pictures in another tab, and then you count them, and then you send them all to me. That's how I think that went down.
You're closer than you think. I was sitting there thinking, the summer break's almost over. I should see if George, because one of them popped up for me, like on Threads or Instagram or something, of George, like, back to business. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I had a prediction that George is going to post shirtless pictures over the summer break. So I go to his profile and I look through, like, you know how you can post like 10 pictures at once? So I click through like all 10 pictures of like the whole reel. And then it's like, okay, every time I found one, it's like send. Next post, send. Next post, send. Yeah, it was so much fun. I enjoyed it.
I did not enjoy seeing that many pictures of George without a shirt on, but I understand and I support you in your enjoyment.
Yeah, I had this huge smile on my face knowing that you're going to like look at your phone and be like, oh, 12 new messages from Andrew. I wonder what this is about. And then it's just like George. Just nothing but shirtless pictures of George.
I'm going to purge that from my memory. What did you think was going to happen in Zandvoort?
More shirtless George. He's on a beach, of course. But sad drunk Dutch fans, which didn't really happen. Maybe they were a little cold. And I said Oscar rebounds, which I was a little bit vague on. But one thing that happened during the race on the commentary that bugged me is if there is any sort of British bias, Karun leaning into it of like, Lando he was so good except for like one lap in Q3. It's like, bud, that's the lap that matters. Like, it doesn't matter if you're good everywhere else. If you don't do it when it counts, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody cares who the fastest one in Q1 was.
100%. It's what was it? To first to win, you have to finish first. First to win, you have to first finish.
Anyway, to finish first you must finish.
Yeah, that's the one. It's the same thing. To get the fastest lap, you have to get the fastest lap.
Yeah, and we've seen from great drivers throughout the past. I'm not sure. I think it's too early to put Oscar in. Is he one of the great drivers in Formula One history? I think certainly if he keeps his development going, he could be. But it's one of those. He is very good at. He puts in a fine lap, and then when it's time in Q3 to go for the all-out lap, he can go for the all-out lap and do a good job. And we've seen Max do it. We've seen Lewis do it. I mean, how many times between 2016 and 2017 and 2021, did Valtteri seem to have the measure of Lewis in Q1 and Q2, and then Q3 comes along and Lewis just shoves it onto pole, and it's like, oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly.
So all I'm saying is Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas are virtually the same kind of driver, except Valtteri is much more charismatic.
So here's the other theory I just had. If the McLaren is terrible next year and this year they really lucked out, that means it's a bit like Braun GP, which is what you're really saying is Lando Norris is like Rubens Barrichello.
In a world of Rubens Barrichellos, be Jenson Button.
Indeed. Did anything exciting happen between the races? And it was a very long gap, and I was hopeful for a significant silly season. I was disappointed.
I tried to send you good memes as I could find them. There was one comparing what Daniel Ricciardo went to the full Adrian Pimento look. Bro went from Jake Peralta to Adrian Pimento.
Who is Adrian Pimento?
Did you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Okay, so Jake Peralta was Andy Samberg's character, which is somewhat how Daniel Ricciardo looked at the very start of his career. And then Adrian Pimento is the guy played by Jason Mantzoukas, who was undercover for a while and is a little bit crazy. So the fact that Ricciardo now looks a little bit more like Jason Mantzoukas is kind of funny.
So he's slowly but surely working his way through most of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters that he's able to do in his retirement.
Yeah, Stephanie Beatriz will be hilarious.
It's a challenge.
It truly is. But yeah, between race drama. Are Cadillac a serious team?
Well, they started out by making a very serious signing with Valtteri Bottas, who will now have to serve his penalty from the previous season that he drove in. But he's now going to be driving for Cadillac, and the question is he going to be the number one driver, or will it be the other signing that they have, who I assert makes it that Cadillac are not a serious team, which was Perez.
Yeah, I think the most hilarious thing about all this was Sergio put out this heartfelt video about how happy he was to be back on the grid, and Valtteri posted a picture of him wakeboarding in a tuxedo while holding an American flag that people thought was AI, but you can actually go see the behind the scenes videoing of the picture. And
Valtteri, best announcement without question.
Yeah.
Did you hear the commentary from Cadillac about Perez?
No.
Because in the press, junket thing or whatever it was that they did in the announcement, the press were asking them, was at any point Sergio Perez's performance in the Red Bull in his final season ever brought up or bring into doubt or question? At which point Cadillac said, yes, we did talk to him about that. And he said that, have you seen the new drivers who replaced me? And we realized at that point it wasn't indicative, so we decided to sign him.
Fair enough.
Which is fair.
One bit of news that I believe is missing from our between race drama spreadsheet is Christian Horner was officially fired from Red Bull. I believe that happened during the break.
Oh, is this where he's removed from the company's house listing or whatever it is?
Yeah,
He's definitely official. Yeah. Okay.
He's officially gone, and I think there is some speculation that he will become the team principal at Cadillac.
Oh God.
Which would be absolutely hilarious if this is how Sergio and Christian get reunited.
Oh God. Please don't do that.
On the subject of Cadillac being a serious team, on the other hand, I think this driver pairing is probably, I think it's the best they could have done, outside of luring somebody away from their current team. So my question is like, who else would have been out there? Like potentially you could have grabbed a George Russell.
That would have been a very large check, I think, to get George to come to Cadillac.
Yeah, but if you are a serious team, grabbing somebody like George Russell does have some good merit. Like, as much as I love Valtteri Bottas or Sergio Perez, I don't think either one of them are going to win a championship unless Cadillac has somehow just knocked the formula out of the park next year. So, I think they're two great veteran drivers that can set you up for the future by giving you good car feedback and helping develop the car. So I think they are good on that front, but like, it's also kind of one of those, who else was out there? Like, you could have grabbed somebody from IndyCar, which had a lot of super license points, which maybe you should have done as an American team to try to drag an American audience more into Formula One. Or do we feel like the American audience is already good enough in Formula One that they don't have to do a stunt hiring? Like, I think the thing here is it's a good driver lineup, but it's, anything. Could you have done something else to maybe try to be more of a serious team, or is this as most serious as they could have gotten? Or to put it another way, you are Cadillac. Who are you hiring as your two drivers for the season?
I personally, because you know how much I dislike him, I would not have hired Perez. I would have probably tried to pull someone like Gasly, maybe. Might be a really good check to try writing to get him to come over.
Certainly would set some headlines.
It would have set some headlines, and I think he's probably a very serious driver. Who else would I have signed on the current grid? Who's a bit loose in the socket? That's a great question. You can't have done K-Mag because you wouldn't be a serious team. I think it is probably, I think you're right, it's the best pairing they could have got, but I think it is part of a strategy that this is a building year.
Right.
And so what you want to do is you wait for the end of 2026. Cadillac is trying Max. What they're going to do?
You think everybody's just waiting for Red Bull and Max and see where Max lands in 26?
Yeah, because the Red Bull's going to be terrible because it's either going to be powered by a really bad Red Bull racing engine. Ford racing engine. Yeah, and it's not going to go anywhere, or they're going to get it wrong because they don't have Adrian Newey, and therefore he's going to leave at the end of 2026. And Cadillac think that they can get him, but we all know that Max is just going to quit F1 at the end of 2026 if the car's not any good. So, but that's what they're trying for, and then they're going to go and pair Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen again. That's their goal.
I think, and who knows if it didn't happen behind the scenes or anything like that, but I think I would have made a push for a George Russell Valtteri Bottas pairing. And I know it's a little Mercedes happy.
They hate each other.
Do they?
One of them smacked the other one in the head after they crashed, and the other one took the other one's seat.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so apart from them hating each other.
Yeah. I guess being an interesting combination.
Yeah, the other one I guess would be Yuki as well.
He's going to the Aston Martin. Well, okay, he's going to the Aston Martin, which means you could have mopped up and you could have got Fernando Alonso.
No, he just needs to go away.
But that would have fit the Fernando Alonso arc, right? He would switch to another team,
and then
frustrated with the,
and then Aston gets good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I just think from a maybe not George and Valtteri specifically, but I think that driver pairing, because especially the interesting thing with George is we know he wants a long-term deal, and we know Mercedes isn't willing to give him a long-term deal. I think Cadillac is an interesting proposition of, hey, we're new to this, but we're going to take a chance to show our commitment is true to both Formula One and being at the top. We're going to sign somebody like George for, a 3 or 4 year deal to show we're serious about it. And then, a veteran like Valtteri to help George, because we know George can't do setups on his own. So have Valtteri come in to help George with his setups.
Perfect.
But
they could have tried it.
Who?
Stroll. But you had a point to make before I went to the next section, so you should make your point.
What? Oh, what was my point?
I don't know. You were about to make a point, and then I interrupted you to talk about Stroll.
Oh, that's like, I think this is a good driver lineup. I don't think if you wanted to poach somebody from a current team, so I think it's the best of. But I think that is going to be my one caveat of they are not a serious team because they didn't go for any active drivers. I think that will be my takeaway from this section.
You're saying that because you're saying George because George is technically out of contract and therefore he was gettable without a hilarious amount. I see what you're saying. I think in my mind I've just assumed that George is actually really just signed for Mercedes. He just doesn't have the piece of paper that says it.
Yeah, but they had time to do the contract negotiations, and we know that George wants a long-term deal. So it's one of those. I think if we go for we can only sign drivers who are currently not in F1 teams, I think Cadillac picked the best combination they could have. If we are going to talk about if they are truly a serious team, get somebody who hasn't sat out of a Formula One seat for a year, at least, or a year. Like, at least Valtteri's kind of been in the sim and kind of, I think, is still good. What's Perez been up to? Like, playing Gran Turismo on his sofa? Like,
making sponsorship deals?
Yeah, So I would say, I would go for are they kind of a serious team? If we're asking the question, I would say no, because they didn't try to poach anybody off the current grid, or didn't successfully poach anybody off the current grid. So you are not willing to spend the money, and you are not willing to commit to being a serious team at this point in time. You're still you're anxious to see how the experiment goes.
And you don't have a good enough story about how good your car is going to be to poach one of those people with a big check.
Yeah.
Because you need the big check, and you need the convincing story. Like, Carlos Sainz has gone to Williams. Admittedly, it was a bit of a case of, like, it was probably the better of two devils, but the team has a serious story, and you can believe that story. But you couldn't tell that for Cadillac and couldn't get someone to come over.
Williams could be the fastest team on the grid next year, and I would not be surprised.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Shall we move on to what happened immediately before qualifying?
On day one or day two, because it happened twice.
Yeah. Lance Stroll drove straight into a wall twice. It's great.
One might say he strolled into a wall. Hey!
He did stroll into the wall. Bum-ba-da-bum. Which, given that he has had problems with his wrists, seems the wrong way to say you're bored with driving the car. I mean, you could have gone for legs, legs, feet, head, neck, but you're going with hands, so okay.
And then he did it. It has been a while since I've seen a did not finish in qualifying. His official classification time was did not finish.
Perfect. But the bit that makes this ever so confusing is he finished in the top 10, right?
I mean, yeah, technically, but he was helped along by some safety cars and the FIA.
And 3 DNFs.
Yeah. This is where I would put on a little bit of my conspiracy hat of, like, what is Aston's budget of bribing the FIA to let Stroll continue to race?
It is not a budget for bribing, because the FIA is not a corrupt organisation.
Sure they aren't.
And no, they're not. And Lawrence Stroll is also not a corrupt member of some secret Illuminati society.
Did you say Lance or Lawrence?
They are just doing Lawrence.
Okay.
Lawrence. And there is they're just helping out a friend. There's no money being exchanged. It's just a conversation, because they all meet at their secret summer retreat, and they have done ever since Lance was like just a baby, and it's just helping everybody along, giving everybody the opportunity.
Grumble, grumble.
Grumble, grumble, grumble. Should we talk about what Helmut didn't know?
Well, I wanna keep lamenting.
Well, we have a whole segment for that.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Apparently, Helmut didn't know that there was a difference between the cars. You're going to need to expand upon that.
Yeah, so I thought it was between the Red Bulls and the Racing Bulls, but it turned out just to be between the Red Bulls. That it wasn't until Spa that Helmut found out that, like, Yuki and Max were running different spec cars. He thought they were running identical cars.
I don't understand how he could. I don't understand how he could have reached that conclusion. It just seems,
because Max is God, so everybody else must be mortal and thus replaceable.
True. That does make sense. And obviously, he doesn't keep on top of the car's development, so he has no idea what's going on his team. So good job, Matt Helmut. I think you've shown your age there.
Yeah. I guess the other between-race drama that doesn't have anything to do with Formula One would be the Jerry Jones and the Michael Parsons trade to Green Bay, but you don't want to talk about American football, so we'll just skip on that.
Okay, a good point. I am tired. It's been a long day for me. What time is it there?
Noon.
Okay, yeah. I did not sleep well on my plane. So shall we return to the topic that is true and close to your heart?
Yeah, what kind of plane were you on?
I was on a 1-year-old A330.
No.
A330 Neo 900.
Oh, so you
flew 1 year old.
So you flew Delta.
I did fly Delta.
Yeah.
And it worked, and it was in one place. There was a medical issue on the plane, but everything was okay. We didn't have to divert. I'm not quite sure. It happened like over Glasgow, and we were only an hour from London, and it's unclear to me if at that point they would have diverted. Because I think by the time you diverted, like if you were over Glasgow, by the time you dumped the fuel, gone around.
Well, you wouldn't dump at that point. You would just land.
It's probably enough to land.
Yeah.
I still think you would have not, because I reckon it was about an hour out. I don't think it would have been any better than to have just gone into London.
Yeah, the real thing, because you probably did you go into Heathrow or Gatwick?
Heathrow.
Yeah. You might have gotten priority into Heathrow, which would have been...
I think we did. There was not a lot of banking and going around in circles.
Yeah. And not in the stacks. So that would probably be the only thing is it's probably just as, especially given the UK airspace, it's probably just as quick to try to get priority into Heathrow. They probably asked like, hey, are we able to get priority into Heathrow? And it's like, yes, because if not, then you gotta also, there's going to be some time to do some coordination of where are we going. And also like, depending on what the medical emergency is, like how quickly do we need to get down versus like where are the better medical facilities? Like, granted, I don't know anything about the NHS system and where the good hospitals are versus where the aren't good hospitals are. But, if you had a choice between like landing a big plane at Birmingham and ruining everybody's day or just continuing to Heathrow, probably just continue to Heathrow.
Yeah. And the passenger who had the problem managed to walk off the plane, so it wasn't that bad. So that's enough about planes. Shall we talk about the occasion?
We should really just change this segment so it really can be an occasional segment of, does Lance Stroll still have a job?
I wholly support that. We should consider that for next time.
Yeah.
Let's put that. I'm going to change it right now. Does Lance Stroll still have a job? It'll be very quick because the answer is always yes. But he shouldn't be, because you had more points to make.
Yeah, like, what was this weekend? Like, you crashed the car in free practice. You crashed the car in 2 times in free practice. You don't finish qualifying. Somehow you still get to start on the race and the grid despite not having set a qualifying time. Like, what is the point of having 100% rule if we're never going to use it? And I hope one thing with...
107%.
That's what I said.
You said 100%.
107%.
Okay.
What's the point of... It would make no sense to have a 100% qualifying time rule. That would be hilarious, though.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah. What's the point of having like the 107% rule if it's never going to be enforced? My hope is that with Cadillac joining the grid and this moving to like a 22 car grid, that maybe they actually will.
Yes.
Because that would
love that.
That would be nice. Like, okay, fine, we're back over 20 cars. That means if you kick somebody out for being slow, we can still have 21 cars on the grid, or at the very least, make them start from the pit lane or something. Like,
yes.
Like, it is. He screwed up so many times and got no punishment for it.
I will say they showed him a shot in the pit lane after his qualifying shenanigans, and he actually for once looked kind of upset.
Oh, did he punch another mechanic? Because he looked upset on that day too.
No, he did not. He did not. He looked more despondent, not angry, upset.
Well, I think this can segue into the qualifying recap. Because, yeah, Stroll, like, man.
He did that in Q1, right?
What was that?
He did it in Q1, correct?
Yeah, because he did not finish qualifying. He never set a qualifying time.
Yeah. He didn't make it at Q1. It was terrible.
Somehow he started P19 on the grid.
That's because Ollie Behrman broke park firme something and did a pit lane start.
Yeah, that's fine, but he set a qualifying time.
I understand and I agree with your point.
Yeah. Ollie did the thing. Lance didn't do the thing. I understand that there are other rules that come into play, but I think when my dictatorship comes to power and I get to set all the rules for Formula One, setting any qualifying time and then taking penalties is better than not setting a qualifying time.
Ergo, anybody who has not set a qualifying time would be, per your previous statement, should be starting from the pit lane, and they should be starting last in the pit lane.
Yeah, you're from the very start of the pit lane, like all the way back on the other line. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, love it. You can go out and do the formation lap, and then you're going to have to stay parked up at a red light for the pit lane being closed, because we'll just close the pit lane, so that way any pit lane starters have the chance to go out, and then once they are released, you can go green light and go through the pit lane at the pit lane speed limit, and then go to full speed when you're at the other end.
Andrew for FIA president. Yes, everybody write him in.
This is my dictatorship. It's going to be great.
Yes. It's going to be better than the one we've got today. What else happened in qualification? Ferrari basically nearly bottled it, spanned it, screwed it up, because they were looking a bit tenuous.
Hey, all you got to do is move on.
True. To qualify first, you just have to qualify fastest.
Well, unless you're Lance Stroll, and then you can qualify last and still get P19 on the grid somehow.
Yeah, because Lawrence calls his friends in the Illuminati and gets moved up to the front. McLaren rocket shipped. They just laughed and drove all around and making everybody else look kind of stupid, really, at the end of the day.
I mean, they were kind of rocket shippy all weekend.
Yeah, they were. In qualifying, it was particularly... They were very close to each other. It was quite funny, really.
And once again, Oscar can extract a little bit more out of that car than Lando.
Yes, I loved it. It was so perfect, and it was 1,200 milliseconds, and that's exactly the kind of win that you love. Not win, but out qualifying by milliseconds. It's perfect, because it's like you dig deep when it matters.
Do you think Lando's race engineer, whose name I don't know, is really good at the Formula One video game because he knows how to coach a driver to get a fast lap time?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Not wishing to talk about Lance Stroll again. I would like to Let's briefly mention Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso in an Aston Martin actually did a pretty good job. He had some good pace and did good qualifying. It's very curious what's going on with that Aston Martin. It doesn't seem to have any race pace, but it does seem to go around a track fast in the hands of a two-time world champion.
I would just argue that Cadillac has a more serious driver lineup than Aston Martin.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Given everything I said at the top of the show of Cadillac does not have a serious driver lineup, they have a more serious driver lineup than Aston Martin.
If they get rid of one of them next year and replace... Yeah, but if they only do one and replace it with Yuki, does that make them a more serious team?
I mean, it would have to be, right?
Well, I'm assessing your seriousness measurement of Yuki Tsunoda.
I think Yuki's a good driver. I think he is...
Okay,
I think he is... I think he is as Alex Albon as you get. Does not look good in that Red Bull. Looked great in the Racing Bulls. Doesn't have the same sort of quick twitch driving style that Max likes. That Alex also couldn't really cope well with. Could move on to a different team and show that he is like the worst case. Honestly, Fernando is the best thing that can happen to Lance Stroll.
Yes,
because we've talked before that Fernando Alonso is washed.
Yes.
But you are only ever compared to your teammate in Formula One, and all we know about Fernando Alonso is Fernando Alonso of the past. So he is the best thing for Lance Stroll. Because let's say the driver lineup next year is Yuki and Lance. Like, what if Yuki just comes in and absolutely cleans Lance's clock? Like, 24-0 qualifying, constantly, battling for podiums while Lance is battling for points. Like it would look like a couple years ago when Fernando was battling for podiums and Lance was battling for points, and everybody is like, why is he in this seat?
I agree.
Yeah. It's also insane how long Lance has been in Formula One.
I know, and he's not really achieved anything with that time.
I mean, we said the same thing about Nico Hülkenberg, and they have, I think, the same number of podiums.
Oof. Speaking of podium, should we talk about the race?
Hold on, I think Lance...
Oh, no. Oh, that's just brutal.
Oh, it's worse. He has
brutal.
He has 3.
3 podiums?
He has 3 podiums.
He must have got those in 2023.
Well, there was the Baku one. That was his first one. Let's see, what were the others? Because he did and then he had 2 in the Tracades. 1 in Monza. Oh, that was the crazy year at Monza where like everything weird happened. And then Turkey, where the whole track was an ice skating rink. So essentially, Lance Stroll needs like the weirdest race to happen for him to get a podium.
The race in Turkey was a pole, right?
I believe he did get a pole in that race. No, Valtteri was on pole.
Okay, that's good. That saves something.
No, Lance qualified 10th. You think Lance would have good qualifying? And then that was the Italian race. Oh, Lewis won for Mercedes. Was that the weird one? Yeah, that was the red flag. Oh, that was the one Pierre Gasly won because Lewis got a red or a penalty or he got a drive-through penalty. And oh yeah, that was the one where Lance did a no stop because he changed tires under the red flag, and that is why Lance got a podium. And then his first podium was Baku 2017, which was all the collisions.
So you're saying that Lance Stroll's podiums were through no fault of his own and just luck?
Lance Lance Stroll has a whole career, and even today, of being at the right place at the right time, and he's capitalized on it. He was born in the right family. He's been in the right place to get podiums at the right time. Like his second podium was the race Pierre Gasly won. So in 2017, the podium he got a race was Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, Lance Stroll in the Williams. So, that's right in Lewis's dominant era, and that's, I think, where Lewis and Seb did their fun car bounties against each other, and Lewis had to do a drive-through or something because of his headrest. So, the 2020 Monza was Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, which was a crappy McLaren, and Lance Stroll in the Racing Point or Tracing Point. So that's a weird podium for the time. And then the Sakir Grand Prix, where he had his third podium, was Sergio Perez in the Racing Point, Esteban Ocon in the Renault, and Lance Stroll in the Racing Point.
And Lewis Hamilton was missing because he had COVID.
Yes.
And George got the wrong wheels on his car.
Oh, I was thinking Turkey. No, that was Sakir. Yeah. That was one where George looked like he was going to win, and he had like that great. Yeah, that was a good race.
That was a good race.
I want that circuit back. I want the.
Yes, I love it. I love the short lap times.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
55 seconds. Yeah. And also, I think Sector 2 of like the really twisty bit is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I think it's a surprising. It's not just an oval; it's a surprisingly good circuit. Anyway, should we talk about this race instead of races in the past?
But first, we should start with what happened before the race. Apparently, Lewis ignored yellow flags. I missed the yellow. Well, I don't know what the incident was that caused the yellow flags, and got a 5-place grid penalty for Monza.
This sucks
for everybody.
Like, this sucks for everybody. The thing I hate most about this is, like, it happened before the race, and granted, Lewis never took a pit stop during the race, so any sort of time penalty would have done the carryover to the next round sort of thing. So maybe it doesn't matter. But also maybe they make a different decision if they know the penalty happens. But this incident happened so far before the race. I turn on the race, and they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be investigated after the race. So it's like the stewards can't be bothered to do their job. Like, you didn't have all the telemetry and stuff ahead of time. No, think about it. Like, so we have this race. Something happened before the race at Zandvoort. Like, it'd be like if an incident happened in qualifying, and they're like, no, we're not going to look at that until after the race. Like,
no, they do that all the time.
Yeah, no. And a thing in qualifying, oh, we're not going to look at it until after the race on Sunday. Like,
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, after the race. I thought you meant after qualifying.
No. We're just not going to look at it until after the race. Like,
yeah.
No, do your job, and then so the penalty can happen in the confines of the race weekend. Like, a thing happened. Like, if it happens late in the race, and like, but like Kimi ruined a bunch of people's races, mostly just Charles, and like technically served his time, and it's done. And Lewis was naughty. Lewis deserves the penalty. I'm not sitting here saying Lewis doesn't deserve the penalty, but it's like, it's also going to impact another race weekend for him, not the one where the incident took place. If it happened in the last 5 laps, like, I understand there's only so much time you can have to investigate, but you had time to investigate what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, so it sucks. Like, fix it. Again, when I come to power, yeah.
When you were written in as the FIA president, as everybody who listens to this show should.
Yeah. Some of you who know me know that I am into racing the bicycles. And there's always, there's the joke of the race isn't over until the protest period ends. Because, so essentially after the provisional results are published, there's a 15-minute protest period before the race goes finalized. In the world of all the data and all the team representatives and everything else, if you're investigating an incident, as soon as you start investigating that incident, you should have a 10 or 15 minute clock that is like, as soon as this is done, we have to have a decision on it. And like, obviously we can stack things up. So like if there's like, 3 incidents in a row, like until you actually open that file, like that is when the clock starts. So if you have like 3 incidents stacked, it's not like we're all waiting on each other. No, they can stack. Yeah. But like, no, come on, you have the data, you know what's going on. Open the clock, start it going and say, okay, we got 10 minutes to figure out if this is worth a penalty or not. They certainly took a lot less than 10 minutes to decide Carlos Sainz got a penalty.
And they were very quick when they decided Kimi got 2 penalties as well.
Right, so they have the ability to do these quickly. They don't need driver input when they decide somebody's in the wrong. So why are we investigating these things after the race?
I don't agree with it, but I assume it's because they wanted to hear from the driver. But the question has to be is, what was Lewis's excuse at this point?
Right, like, that's the thing. Like, oh, man. Also, here's the better question. What excuse would you believe? Like what excuse would be like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Not seeing the sign.
Like, I was texting and driving?
Yeah, there you go.
But also, you would give him a penalty for that.
Well, okay, but he has a Ferrari engineering team. It is basically like texting and driving because you've got to do everything yourself, and I don't think you can you can't penalize someone for working for Ferrari. They've already penalized themselves enough by working for Ferrari.
Fair enough.
It's that. Shall we move on to the start of the race?
Sure.
Okay. Lando bottles it from P2.
I will not totally agree with you on this. Because he had a better start than Oscar. Oscar did a great job to immediately cover Lando off. Max did a dive bomb at the awesome turn. Is it turn 3? The big thing. And like Tarzan. Probably shouldn't have held it, but like he's Max and did, and then just got a better drive out of like drifting, which should never be faster. So like I think Lando actually did everything right and got Max Verstappen than necessarily bottling it.
Okay, fair, but the net result is the same.
The net result is Lando loses a position at the start. Lol.
Yes, often to Max Verstappen. Bortoleto really bottled it and ended up down the back.
Did he forget to watch the lights?
I don't know. He was texting and driving.
Fair enough.
And then what happened after that? Go on.
Well, so then, Lando got past Max and not enough rain happened for anything exciting to happen. Kind of.
Yeah.
Because Lewis hit the paint and went Korea. He almost saved it, too. He almost saved it.
I think he didn't realize quite where the wall stuck out, and I think he didn't realize quite how far over he was, and I think he didn't realize quite how little distance, and all three of those things came together to be like, nope, took the front wheel off. Oh well, oops, never mind.
Yeah,
he would have saved it otherwise, because he saved it twice in the weekend in the same corner, because he did 360s twice and pulled it out.
I have to say, I love Zandvoort as a track.
Yes, agree.
It's an amazing track. I want more.
Sadly, next year is this last year.
It's so sad because it's so different from any other track we have.
Yes.
And I love it for that. Yeah. So I thought after this safety car, I remember looking over to my wife and go, I can't believe I'm going to have to watch the rest of this race because it looks like it's going to be so boring. Because it's what we always talk about of a safety car during everybody's pit window. So everybody pits. And then pretty much we're all line astern with nothing really changing except Lance pitted early, so he somehow gets to move up to the points. And then the Haas's safety car goal hang, and it actually pays off. But we did get one moment of amazing racing right before the halfway point when I thought about switching off my television, which was the Charles Leclerc versus George Russell caught the VSC napping George battle. That was amazing.
I was so surprised that this resulted in 0 penalties for at least someone. I mean, ideally, obviously George, but I was still surprised.
Yeah. The best was George.
I'm also surprised.
I love the radios. The radios were great.
I was expecting way more from George. I was expecting.
Who says we could have just gotten the edit? Like, I assumed there was also way more from George.
True, especially with the way George says it. He's like, I don't know about this. That feels like he possibly had all 4 wheels off. I would make sure that the stewards are investigating this because I think it was unfair. He definitely like me just like going on for 45 minutes before his engineer's like, I muted you 10 minutes ago, man.
Yeah, so what Charles essentially caught George napping after the VSC to pick up various bits of probably a Williams on the...
Yes, it was. It was Carlos Sainz's something.
Oh, we didn't... Should we talk about that real quick? Or do we want
to... Lawson?
It was Lawson and Carlos. I think it was a racing incident.
I agree, but they gave Carlos a 10-second penalty. Which
I can understand. Did you read the decision document on it?
I didn't.
Yeah, it was...
What was the spicy item?
It was pretty much like Dude, you were not even close to being alongside. Why did you put your car there? You should have known this was going to happen. Because Liam essentially just took the racing line. And like Liam should have known Liam should have known better, because there's going to be a car right there. There might be a car right there. Look in your mirror occasionally before you open the steering up. Carlos should have known better, because you are not alongside enough to push that bad position.
This is what Carlos does.
Sure.
This is what he did to Charles. And Charles always, not backed out, but Charles ended up, for the most part, giving in because he didn't want to get the Ferrari problem.
Well, to finish first you must finish.
Indeed. But Carlos can't pull it off anymore because he's down the back too often, and he keeps trying to pull it off, and it makes him look a bit...
dodgy?
Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit dodgy.
Yeah, so, like, I get the point. I get the penalty. I'm not as sad about it as everybody else on the broadcast. Like, I read the document, like, okay, I see their point, but
Yep.
like,
Yep.
everybody's race got ruined, and like I don't know, I think it is one of those, we talk about it from time to time, of do they punish the incident or punish the outcome? And so many times I feel like they punish the outcome, and in this case they punish the incident.
Which is, I think, actually, for their goals, is the better way to achieve it.
Yeah, but it's not consistent in how they steward.
Correct. And it often doesn't feel moral, if it makes any sense.
Yes.
Because, somebody does something small, but it causes a big outcome, or somebody does something big and it causes a small outcome, and it just feels weird.
Back on Charles and George, so they pick the Williams off the track. Charles noticed the VSC is ending, and I guess George didn't. And yeah, he absolutely threw it down the inside onto the gravel. I mean, we talk so much about how every runoff is terrible in Formula One these days because it's just all concrete and doesn't punish you for any sort of your mistakes. Nah, dude had 3 wheels in the gravel and still came around George. And he's like, I don't know what he's gonna... I love that Charles was he's gonna complain about that, but he has no way to complain about that because he left me no space to race. Even Charles knows George was gonna be a whiny about it. And then the next thing that pops up is a George radio that's like, that seemed unfair.
It's not fair. Yeah, whatever.
He went faster than me. And back to what we talked about with the stewards of punishing the outcome and not the incident. Nobody gets a penalty from that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a spicy move by Charles.
I want to see more moves like that from Charles. That is a boldness from Charles we don't normally see, and I loved every second of it. I also do agree that hey, yeah, probably not a penalty there, because I'm not sure how you penalize one driver without penalizing the other driver.
Yes, you could have made them give the place back.
Yeah, but he technically did not overtake off the track because he had fully been back on the track by the time he got past George. So that argument's bad. The argument of, you could say, well, George pushed him off the track, which is fine. So I would say it's probably going to be, I mean, it did end up as a racing incident, but I would say 55-45 to George. It was more George's fault. If there's going to be a penalty, it was going to come on to George than Charles.
Yes. But what we do know is that Mercedes asked their teammate, George's teammate, to perform a retribution act against Charles.
Okay, so I briefly looked down and I missed why Kimi came past George.
Oh, because the Charles-George incident caused damage on George's car.
Okay. I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, and they called him up. The radio from George was he was so dumbfounded. George was just okay.
Love it. Yeah.
It was perfect.
So then they pit Kimi, Mercedes, and then Ferrari and Ferrari's infinite wisdom decide, well, let's cover that off with Charles. And yeah, rookie's gonna rookie.
He rookied hard. Again, I think this was actually a secret radio call that was retribution, because he, in exactly the same place that Lewis Hamilton managed to bin it, Kimi decided to put Charles in the wall. Well, gently kissing his rear wheel.
Charles came out just ahead of Kimi, and Kimi was on fresh tires, and I think Kimi's going, I have one shot, and decided to go for his one shot, and went and did his best Valtteri Bottas bowling impression, right into Charles, which I haven't seen a Formula One car come apart like that well in a while. To like absolutely just rip the front wing off like that. That was fun to see.
Front wing, rear wheel. He tried to make it go again, and then he wouldn't. And then he was mad at Ferrari for pitting him, and he says, "I'm just going to get out of the car now." And then he pulled a Fernando Alonso sitting on the side, just
Yeah,
the world go by.
How did he have his phone at the top of the dune? That's what I'm curious about. Did he like go grab it? Or did somebody bring it?
I don't think it was a phone. I think somebody gave him an AM/FM radio, and he was listening to an AM/FM radio.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think it was.
They still make AM/FM radios?
They do for emergency situations and for going to Formula One races.
Oh, okay. And I guess baseball games.
Yes, exactly. See, you know how it works.
Yeah, fair.
And then
just when I thought the race was boring, or going to be boring again, because Max couldn't make the soft tires work to get past McLaren, Lando blows up.
Mercedes intervenes once more.
That Mercedes engine does not look reliable this year. They've had some problems with it up and down the customer teams and the works team.
There are also a large number of them, though. So statistically speaking, the more engines there are, the more likely to observe a failure. But I do agree with your point.
This is just like the Toyota problem of they've scaled up their organization and they haven't accounted, and now the reliability's gone down because they're building too many engines. Exactly.
It was great. And everybody was very upset for Lando, showing the British bias. I wasn't upset for Lando. I mean, I'm not gleeful that he had his engine blow up because I feel that's unfair. But I wasn't like, oh no, poor Lando.
I miss engines blowing up in Formula One.
Yes.
And it was so nice to see an engine blow up again.
After you had been calling for it not 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, because occasionally you just need an engine to blow up. And you feel good about it.
You need someone to have pushed too hard and made it go pop.
The only problem is it wasn't that great of a blow up. It was just like oil goes everywhere. It wasn't like Daniel Ricciardo in China where there was just like 15 feet of flames coming out the back as this turbo went nuclear.
Yeah. It was a bit boring. So, and then you had Max is allergic to hard tires.
He never ran the hards. He went soft, medium, soft.
Huh. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. But this leads us all to talk about another Red Bull driver who had a very special day.
What a weekend by Isaac Hajar.
Yes, loved it. Stuck it in P4 entirely and completely on merit, and then drove around for 65 laps, keeping it in 4th place across multiple pit stops and safety cars.
And rain.
Great work. And rain. Great work, Isaac. And then... because Lando,
he set himself up for the next driver to race along Max Verstappen.
This is perfect. It is you, and you are aspiring, and you are doing well at your job because you just care about doing a great job. And then somebody says, "Great job! We'd like you to go work in the sewage department." And he feels like he gets demoted to an entirely different job where he's just wiping up vomit all day, which is called work driving the second Red Bull.
But
terrible.
But Christian Horner's no longer there, so. By next season, with the new regs, the Red Bull and the Racing Bull is practically going to be the same car.
It's also possible.
Because they're powered by the same power unit. Yeah. Oh, that was some in-between race drama. Apparently, the next-gen cars are going to be they're going to be slower lap times, but if you fully deploy all the boosts and stuff, you can hit 400 kilometers an hour.
To the point that some tracks are going to have special one-off restrictions reducing how much power you can deploy. Such as at Monaco, they don't want people going down the main straight at 400 kilometers an hour because when you hit the end at Saint Devote, it's going to leave a mark.
when you miss we just need we need like the aircraft carrier safety netting for the chicane, so that way if you if your brakes fail at 400k, you just go right into the safety net that'll slow you down.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
All right. I'm very low-grade excited about the 2026 cars to see how weird and messed up they are.
I want to see the Active Aero. I think that could be really cool.
Yes.
All right. So who is your driver of the day, and what driver could not wait for their day to be over?
The boring solution, and I think also the driver of the day, Hajar. He was great. I think he he knocked it out of the park. My driver who couldn't wait for it to be over was Kimi, because he had 15 seconds of penalty for being a rookie and living up to his nom de plume of Kimi Cantonelli.
It's very impressive to drive half a car over the speed limit in the pit lane.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that's what his 5-second penalty was about.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, man.
Speeding in the pit lane. Yeah, I also agree. Hasher was the official driver of the day, and I totally agree, deserved everything like that. But I did put Oscar down just to be a little contrarian because Oscar had his first career Grand Slam.
Which are very rare these days.
Put it on pole, started on pole, led every lap, won the race. Doesn't get much more complete than that. Had to survive 2 safety car restarts, which has been a weak spot for him earlier in the season.
3 safety car restarts.
3 safety car restarts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't counting the VSC.
Okay. No, because he had 3.
Oh, because Lando blew up. I forgot about that one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, honorable mention to Kimi for driver who couldn't wait to be over. Honorable mention goes to Kimi with 15 seconds of penalty, as we talked about. I have often said that in order for the driver who couldn't wait for their day to be over, you have to finish the race. However, I think we need to talk a little bit about Lando Norris, who is officially classified. So I think I'm worthy of my own stipulations to put him in here. That dude looks so dejected on that sand dune.
Because he knows the championship has been lost.
I feel like he came out of the summer break, or he came into the summer break on a win, closing it to Oscar, looking good. His race engineer, man, if you can have your own personal cheerleader, it was like, man, you were so fast today. You were so fast. I mean, not faster than Oscar, but so fast. Like, and it's one of those, like, it's got to be hard for Lando because Oscar, in my assessment, outdrove him all day. Like, yeah, there were times when Lando closed the gap, but as we've seen all season, Lando can close the gap only to a point, and then Oscar just drives that little bit faster. Like, and because Oscar can control that race from the front as good as anybody else on the grid right now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Sure, Lando can get closer, but to what extent? And I think Lando was not going to be happy with the P2 today. But at least, you're within the margin. Anything can happen. 13 points. That's fine. And now it's, 36 points?
36-point gap.
That's not good. That is a very different heading into 8 races to go. 36 points back.
That is a lot to close.
Yeah. I do hope Oscar wins by more than 18 points, so we can't be like, oh, well, if Lando didn't DNF and Zandvoort, yeah.
Sabotage by Toto.
Yeah. All right, what debrief do you want to be in this week?
Ferrari, because I just want to hear everybody crying and being really sad and depressed, because I don't actually think for once it wasn't really the team's fault in either case.
I think there's a good question to ask of why did you pit Charles?
I agree, but I don't think that's the fault. It's not their fault that was a crash. They didn't put the wheel on wrong.
Sure, but if you don't pit Charles, Kimi doesn't drive into him.
What if?
What if indeed? Because honestly, I think where he pitted, there was Yuki. I think he had to get past on merit, but then George would have just let him by. So, yeah, I think it would have been close to see if Kimi would have been able to overtake Charles, with fresher tires, but I don't think it was going to happen. Yeah, my pick this week would have been the steward's room, just because of how many incidents they chose to investigate and some of the decisions that were made and how quickly or not quickly they were made. That I would want to be in there to be like, what are you guys doing?
No, don't disagree with that. That would be spicy, but I'm still going to stick with Ferrari.
I've heard them cry enough over the last couple of weeks. I want to go see what the stewards are on about.
Fair point. We've talked about Championship Watch. Oscar, it's all his to lose.
At this point, McLaren could not show up until the San Paulo Grand Prix and still lead the championship, I think is what it is.
Yeah, it can't be long now. Can't be long. This is what happens when you have 2 drivers who are competitive. You can take the Constructors' Championship home halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think they can clinch it. What's after Monza? Baku?
I can't remember.
I think they can clinch it. Well, it's ever after Monza. I think it's Baku, and I think they can clinch it at Baku.
Seems very likely that they will do that. Spicy takes?
I already said that Lance Stroll is bribing Formula One officials to let him do the racing.
Yep. Mine is Lewis binned it to avoid getting a grid drop due to his yellow flag infringement, but then they decided to give him anyway, so it didn't really work.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if they gave him a penalty to serve the pit stop because he crashed right before his pit stop, it would have carried over anyway. So
yeah,
that's the only. All right, predictions for the Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio d'Italia 2025.
I'm going with Ferrari will bring all the upgrades. They'll bring new engines, the whole thing, and they will still go nowhere.
I mean, that's Ferrari at Monza. They gotta show.
They got to show it. But there will be a glimmer from Lewis, who halfway through the race will start siding through from the back, where he has ended up due to bad quality, bad start, taking a new engine. Or since I wrote this, a 5-place grid penalty, which when he qualifies P7 anyway, will put him in P12.
Not good for Lewis.
Nope. What about your predictions?
I'm going to say Max, Charles, and Lewis on the podium.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, not necessarily in that order, but being the podium. And I think I can.
That would make the Tifosi very happy.
I think I could get at least 2 of those right.
Yeah, which will be Max and Charles because he won't be Lewis.
Because Lewis is going to be too far back. But yeah. And then I say Lando will overdrive to make up for his DNF, and it doesn't go well. And I think that's going to be a concrete prediction and a well-inked prediction for the rest of the season.
You are so right. 100%. This is absolutely perfect.
An evergreen prediction. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Let's do it. We are, as always, waiting patiently, deeply, nervously for your feedback. Write into feedback@tinfoilhelmets.com and let us know your conspiracy theories, your feedback, and your wants. And remember to tell your friends to like, listen, rate, and subscribe.
And what movie should we review next?
Good suggestion.
Because we are now a movie reviewing podcast.
Indeed. Please make sure you go back and vote on the previous episode for which is better, Armageddon or Deep Impact.
I forgot we did that.